field in the Oxford High shooting.
The parents of the accused shooter, Jennifer and James Crumbley, are asking the judge to reduce their bond from $500,000 to $100,000. But late this afternoon, Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald filed a brief to argue against that. That brief revealing the concerning drawings made by Crumbley and discovered by a...
I want to zoom in on these. The thoughts won't stop. Help me. It's a gun. Wow. It's a gun. Somebody bleeding. And it says blood everywhere. And a bullet. My life is useless. The world is dead. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. My heart breaks. My heart breaks for somebody who is clearly being attacked mentally. And this is a cry of help. And my goodness.
Teacher at Oxford High School just the day before the deadly shooting. 7 Action News reporter Jim Kirchner is outside District Court in Rochester Hills with this brand new information. Jim?
The two parents are charged with involuntary manslaughter, and with this filing late this afternoon, the Oakland County prosecutor says the case against them is stronger than ever and that they're at a greater risk of flight. They bought their son the gun that was used in the shooting just days before it all happened. And remember the day they were charged about 3 weeks ago? They were found hiding out in a building in Detroit.
Clearly, this is a serious case. People died, and they have a responsibility for that, according to the prosecutor. I think a judge is going to have a hard time reducing the bond.
The Oakland County prosecutor says the Crumbley parents are $11,000 behind in their house payments. Their house is for sale. They sold horses they owned. And there are more critical facts known by the parents that have not been told to the court. They were called to Oxford High School the morning of the shooting when their son Ethan was found with this drawing and a picture taken by the teacher to preserve it. Picture includes the words, "The thoughts won't stop. Blood everywhere. Please help me. My life is useless. The world is dead." Court document also says the parents knew their son was depressed.
Hang on, I want to back up and zoom in on one other thing they did not point out. What have I been saying? And some of you criticize me greatly for saying it. What have I been saying since the beginning of this case? And I received so much criticism from you. I spoke out about his video games and that being an influence on what was happening. And it's his handwriting saying that involves a video game. So all of you who criticize me should apologize now, because it turns out those video games did have an impact and an influence on him.
Dead. Court document also says the parents knew their son was depressed, was fascinated with guns, had been seen watching a video of violent shootings that morning. Their son's only friend had moved away in October. The family dog died. Much more evidence than we've seen before.
From the get-go, prosecutors like to get their case out there as much as they can, and the defense has given them an avenue with this bond reduction motion.
Attorneys for the parents are asking the judge here to reduce their bond $500,000 each down to $100,000 each. Prosecutor is arguing against that. This will be heard here before the judge on January the 7th. In Rochester Hills, Jim Kirchner, 7 Action News.
All right. Thank you so much, Jim. Now, tonight, we are also learning that Ethan Crumbley's parents are telling a very different story about their son's case compared to what we've heard from prosecutors. Here's 7 investigator Ross Jones with that angle.
What's the probability of these individuals showing up or appearing for court.
In a motion filed in 52nd District Court, attorneys for James and Jennifer Crumbley say their clients don't pose a risk to public safety and won't skip town during their criminal case. They're asking that their $500,000 bond be slashed to $100,000.
I think that there is a fair argument to reduce this bond. The whole idea is you want to be able to help your client, and it's going to be a whole lot easier to assist your client if he's out on bond, where you can meet him in your office.
Criminal defense attorney Ray Kassar reviewed the 7-page motion, saying that the defense team has its work cut out for them.
So they're fighting to be able to be out on bail, and they could work with their defense attorney a little bit more closely that way. And again, I don't know about that. They're a flight risk without a doubt. Avery says, wow, is that the photo the parents seen? That changes everything now. And I am so much more disgusted at these parents. How can you see that or know these thoughts and leave him at school? That's what I want to say. So the parents absolutely saw the drawing. They saw two versions of it. They saw the drawing before anything was redacted, and then they saw the later version of the drawing where the son had sort of scribbled some things out. There's the scribbled out version. He scribbled out the blood in the gun. He scribbled out the words blood everywhere. He scribbled out help me. He didn't scribble out the thoughts won't stop, and he didn't scribble out, and he added this video game this is. And then he scribbled out my life is useless, and then he put my life, I love my life so much. So he sort of realized he was going to be caught in on some of this, or called to the carpet on some of this. But this was the original drawing. He said, my life is useless. The world is dead. He said, the thoughts won't stop. Help me. And he said, blood everywhere. That was the original one before the teacher confronted him. And so the parents saw that, and they saw the second version. And in addition to that, the parents were obviously having some financial struggles. I don't understand how they have $20,000 in the bank and we're $11,000 behind in their mortgage, though. That doesn't make sense, right? Because they withdrew $4,000, not $20,000, wasn't it? But still, they should be able to make a mortgage payment. So here's what the parents say. He's struggling. His only friend he had moved away. Our dog just died. You know, the parents saw the drawing. We know our son's depressed. We know he's fascinated with guns. We know he's been, watching these videos, violent videos this morning before he left for school. And then they get called into the office, and he says these thoughts won't stop. Blood everywhere. I'm absolutely shocked that there wasn't more done about this situation. And I feel heartbroken. Imagine the weight of responsibility that the teacher who discovered this feels. Imagine the weight that's resting on her right now. She tried to sound the alarm. She tried to say, listen, I caught this young man in my geometry class writing that the thoughts won't stop. I caught him the day before looking up different kind of ballistics. 2 days in a row, I'm having issues with him looking into this, looking at that. And then now he's drawing on a paper saying the thoughts won't stop. Help me. Blood everywhere. My life is useless. And so she does everything she can in her ability to try to, hit the alarm button. I am nervous about this. So the school counselor calls the parents in and tries to sound the alarm on that. And the parents say, no, we don't want to take him out of school. We'll have a talk with him. We know his dog died. We know his friend moved away. We know he's depressed. We know he's obsessed with guns. We know he's been watching violent videos this morning before he left for school. So we know all of this about him. But send him back to class, and we'll deal with it later. Meanwhile, the mom sends a text message and says, don't do it, to her son. The dad goes home and calls 911, realizes the gun's missing. And by the time that happens, unfortunately, it's too late. This kid was crying out for help. He was under some level of, in my opinion, demonic oppression, hearing voices, having evil thoughts. This is terrible. This is terrible. And I hate the situation.